Hello out there and welcome to Public Conscience. This is the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. PRIMOG is a civil society group with a mandate to promote good governance, participation and accountability in Nigeria. I am Adaobi Obiabumo and I'm with Chidozie Ogunaya.
Welcome to the program.
On Public Conscience on Radio, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of corruption stories reported by our partner media organizations and drawing citizens and government attention for democratic actions against it. We also promote integrity by focusing on rare cases of the display of honesty by public and private individuals in the course of their activities. This program is supported by the MacArthur Foundation.
On today's program, we will continue to look at the submission of the forensic audit report of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) to President Muhammadu Buhari, following nearly 2 decades of brazen corruption, contract scams, and embezzlement.
You will recall that on this program last week, our resource persons and Nigerians who phoned in asked President Buhari to expeditiously go after NDDC officials, whether retired or currently in service, and contractors indicted by the report.
We will also call for the immediate submission of the long-awaited forensic report initiated by the federal government. The calls for President Muhammadu Buhari to take action on the individuals and contractors may have paid off, because we saw the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, quickly pass on the audit report to the President in 24 hours after holding on to it for about a month.
Today's conversation will avail us the opportunity to continue urging the federal government and its anti-corruption agencies to swing into action, especially now that the forensic audit report shows that over 12,000 projects have been abandoned in the Niger Delta since inception, and with another over 12,000 projects untraceable. There is a lot to chew from the report.
You will hear from the people from Niger Delta region who are directly faced with the impact of the decadence caused by years of corruption at the NDDC.
The revelation from the audit report confirmed our outcry at PRIMOG over the time for government to take serious action towards tackling the cesspool of corruption in the NDDC. As a citizen, what is your expectation now that Mr. President has received the forensic audit report that exposed monumental corruption in the NDDC? And what must be done to ensure that the audit report is not swept under carpet or forgotten on the shelf just like some other corruption reports?
Be ready to join us through phone and text messages in the course of the conversation. The WhatsApp phone line to send your message is 090-2265-6167, and that is 090-2265-6167. This is for messages only.
We want to encourage you to begin to send your messages as soon as possible to 0902-265-6167. The numbers for calls will be given out shortly.
It is no longer news that President Buhari received a forensic audit report of the NDDC last Thursday, having ordered that a forensic audit of the commission be carried out in October 2019. And shortly after receiving the forensic report on behalf of the President, the Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, revealed that the federal government spent approximately 6 trillion naira on NDDC between 2001 and 2019.
And to take a look at the implications of the NDDC forensic audit report, which is now on President Buhari's table, we have in the studio a lawyer and the Executive Director, Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights, Frank Tietie. You're welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, and very much my pleasure.
And by the way, Barrister Frank Tietie is from the Niger Delta region, and we also have 2 other sons of the soil, Darlington Nwuju and Omuakpo Ovie. They will both join us via the phone.
But first, let's quickly speak with Darlington Nwuju, who joins us from Port Harcourt, Rivers State. You're welcome to the program, Darlington.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, last week the NDDC forensic audit report was handed over to the President. How did you and your people in Rivers State and the NDDC receive this development?
Well, let me quickly say that even though we had arguments and interventions over the process itself, as in the fundamentals that led to the commissioning of the audit report, because you would recall that during the probe of the NDDC, it was discovered that the provisional certificate of no objection issued by the DPP was actually gotten out of sheer deception, or was issued out of sheer deception, because the 318 million naira, which the audit, the lead forensic auditor collected, was actually not captured in the NDDC budget. It was actually an extra budgetary expenditure. Even though we had these issues and these reservations, we still felt that probing deeper into the issues why the development of the region has become a malignant tumor that needed to be exorcised or that needed urgent surgery. We supported that the NDDC activities be improved so that the people of the region will be able to know where their problems are actually coming from, because there has been plenty of finger pointing. And so we welcomed the probe, but it took another 20 long, tortuous months for the report to see the light of the day. And so we also felt that it was becoming, the whole process was becoming unnecessarily prolonged. And we felt that there could be some political interference here and there concerning that probe. But when this probe report was submitted last week, some of our fears became founded. They are no longer in the realms of imagination, because two of the recommendations of that report were very funny. Number one, take for instance, the issue of recommending that the NDDC management board should be on the part-time basis was very, very unnecessary. Unnecessary in the sense that of the 19 members of the duly constituted board for the NDDC, only 3 are on full-time basis. That's the MD, the EDP, and the EDF. The other 15 members of the board are on part-time basis.
Darlington,
Yes.
Darlington, I'm going to jump in here so that we'll broaden this issue. Because the audit report says that over 12,000 NDDC projects were abandoned due to corruption and mismanagement. But how many of these abandoned projects are visible to the people? And what are your expectations going forward from the federal government?
Well, let me just say that the report actually said that 13,777 projects were abandoned. And now some of the projects that were abandoned that should have influenced the living condition of the people, that should have improved upon the welfare of the people and their overall well-being, includes but not limited to student hostels. There are some hostel projects that have been embarked upon for over a decade by the NDDC. They are yet to be completed. There are shoreline protection projects that were embarked upon that are yet to be completed. In fact, the NDDC headquarters itself was not completed until this year. I hope you are aware. This holiday, the NDDC was staying in a rented building, and so it was also an abandoned project until this year. So, my expectation is that Mr. President should constitute a board for the NDDC. And that board should now use the report and other reports, because there are a plethora of reports of audits that have been done before this time over the NDDC. So the constituted board should work with these reports and better the lives of the people of the Niger Delta. We want to see also that the recommendation on the downsizing of the board is outrightly out of place. The people of the region cannot accept it.
Okay. I'm sure the president is listening, and something will be done. Let's stay with that optimism. But thank you very much for coming in this morning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
You just heard the voice of Darlington Nwauju, a son of the soil from Rivers and from Port Harcourt in Rivers State. But in the studio we still have Frank Tietie. Let's have your reaction to what the issues he raised, talking about the board for the NDDC and recommendation that the board should be downsized, that the people of Niger Delta are against it, and other issues. How would you react to this?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, what should be emphasized is that monies have been paid for a number of contracts running up to over 13,000 to be executed in the Niger Delta. Monies have been collected to the tune of about 80% or 90% of the value of such contracts, and there is nothing to show for those contracts. In fact, I want to presume that there are some of those contracts that are lost. They haven't heard anything about them, because the goal, the political goal, which is the sin of successive government, is that the NDDC was seen as a slush, as a repository of a slush fund for the purpose of, gratifying political cronies who were loyal to a federal government that had a ministry for Niger Delta, that had an overpowering, bureaucracy that simply sent people to NDDC to collect contracts to be rewarded for one political patronage or the other. And the result is that we have a region that is on paper, it claims to have received trillions of naira.
6 trillion.
That is debatable. We will get there when the time comes, because the report, having taken so long for the report to come out, the thing is that when it has now been submitted, I don't know why the president is still keeping it, because we should have the report on our tables right now, examining that report to know whether it is indeed a reflection of what's going on, whether the report itself has not even been compromised. Because here we see that the system, the people of the Niger Delta who have run the NDDC, have constituted themselves as enemies of the Niger Delta.
We'll come back to that. Just like Governor Wike said, he said that the NDDC became cash cow. But we'll get to that point. But right now we have
Omoakwa Ovie, who joins us from Warri in Delta State. He is a son of the soil also. Omoakwa Ovie, how is Delta State today?
Delta State is very fine.
Okay, after many years of clamor for government to tackle corruption in the NDDC, we finally have the forensic audit report. Can you tell us about the role of politicians, businessmen, and traditional rulers in the contract scam?
Well, of course, by now I was expecting that immediately after they submitted the report to the president, they ought to have made the report public so that we can begin to analyze and know what to do, who to apportion blame to. Then again, they ought to have even published the names of the politicians, the businessmen, and the traditional rulers, or the individuals within the region and outside the region that have been involved in this gross criminality against the people of Niger Delta. So by now, I believe that the report ought to have been published so that people can have it and analyze and know who to be held responsible for the criminality that they have committed against the people of Niger Delta.
involved in the corruption, if I get you right there. But how can the people of Niger Delta be better equipped against corruption in the NDDC and the region as a whole?
My brother, in the first instance, we have a commission now that was established by law in 2001. Since 2015 to date, the commission have not had a stable board. So first, the presidency must do everything within the power to ensure that we have a substantive board for the commission. They must send the list to the National Assembly now that the forensic audit is out, and the board be inaugurated as soon as possible, so that we can have our people that we can hold accountable for anything that will happen in that commission. Without that, people coming to them within the next 6 months, they are out.
So do you think if there is a board, the corruption in the commission will reduce?
To some extent, it will reduce, because those that are just interim committee members, they are only coming knowing fully well that their tenure is just like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, or they have put a year before the heat will come again and they will be thrown aside. When they call it, the first thing they do is on how they can amass wealth to themselves. That is where they begin to award emergency road repairs, emergency this, emergency that are not, always executed. In my community of this place, there are so many emergency roads that have been awarded. People, they have collected the contract, collected money, and they are not even executed.
They are not executed.
And are the contractors from your region also?
Some are from my region, and some are outside the region. Because, like we just said, it's a cash cow. The NDDC has become a cash cow.
So the people of Niger Delta are also culpable in this?
Our people here, the Italy committee just come in, knowing fully well that they have maybe 1 or 2 persons that is backing them in Aso Rock. They will just collect money, go to Abuja, spend the money on them, and the whole region will continue to lament and cry. Even with all the cry for the constitution of the board, in July, the presidency is said to have kept a 10-year to it.
All right.
I can then treat a region that is so reason-worthy that is suspending the economy in that manner.
All right, thank you. We hope that the president will do the needful and constitute a board for the NDDC.
Going forward, at least when our people are appointed into such commission, we will begin now to hold them accountable. We will begin now to ask them periodically what they are doing with the fund that is going to the past.
That is the right way to do.
We must, as region, both youth, traditional rulers, opinion leaders, we must, just as we are all coming up to agitate for the constitution of the board, that is how we must all go together to ask questions, to hold our people accountable. The criminality is too much. How can they spend 6 trillion naira in the region, and today there is no content open in the region?
It's good to hold the duty bearers to account. Thank you so
we'll
much
hold them accountable. Just keep doing that.
We have been properly there for too long.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
God bless you.
All right. Back in the studio, we still have Barrister Frank Tete. Thanks for staying with us. And I saw the look.
Yeah, because
optimistic.
No. We should first of all tell ourselves the truth first now. We can't be lying to ourselves as a people. The people of Niger Delta were very complicit in the rape of the NDDC. We must acknowledge that when asking questions, why should we lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that we had a board? We've always had boards in the NDDC, substantive boards, whether it was the Agwanewodo or Timi Alaibe. We have always had boards that have been in the NDDC, which actually superintended over the mismanagement and maladministration of the NDDC. Well, we can't lie to ourselves.
So
it was because of the failure of the boards, the corruption of the boards, that led to all of this nonsensical, permit me, and I apologize for that. And I repeat again, nonsensical sole administration or interim management team that we've always had. A failure of the board. The people of Niger Delta will say they are militants or they are activists. Whereas they don't know how to ensure that monies that have been budgeted for the development of those places, they forget about them. So long as their people are there in the board, or their people are receiving the contracts, and then they collect the money, share the money to themselves, spread the money, give them pittances, give them peanuts, and when they come for burial occasions and naming ceremonies and all, and Thanksgiving, and then they think everything goes on. That's what they've been doing all over the years. Watching their people, clapping for them as they were, stealing their own money. They are talking about the ordinary citizen in the Niger Delta. He didn't care whether the budget for the NDDC was practically stolen by their own people, by our own people who are in the board. Let's not lie to ourselves. So our people who have run the board all this while have been the ones who have actually supervised the I would say the fleecing of the NDDC. So we, the people from the Niger Delta, we have our blame. Those of us who ran the NDDC with the connivance of the Abuja powers, they are also our enemies. The contractors, majorly who are from the Niger Delta, who actually got those contracts because they claimed that so many of them claimed that, look, if you give us contract, we can ensure peace, pipelines will not be burst, and then, we can do this for you, we can get you votes, we can maintain all of those political patron. Yeah, yes. In fact, the chicken has just come to the roost. We have all seen, and so you don't come and give me a simplistic solution by saying appoint the board. A board of who? So that we're talking about quality of persons. We are not even considering about what has happened in the past. We are looking at something that is staring us in the face. Our failure as a people against ourselves, our failure as a government who don't care about the people of Niger Delta. We are talking about a forensic audit report that has come out now. We don't want time to be wasted. I am looking forward to properties that will be temporarily and finally forfeited to the federal government, sold, and the money taken back to the new FDDC. We are looking at a situation where current members of the National Assembly, current persons in the Federal Executive Council, in the Federal Public Service and Civil Service, we are looking forward to their being arrested immediately and put in prison pending when they get bail. And the bail conditions will be very onerous and difficult, and that when they even get it, we want a speedy trial, so that we want to see people sent to prison. Who cares about calling somebody that we know that you are the one who is responsible for the stealing in NDDC, you naming and shaming at the end there? They don't care about that because they have the money to enjoy. Send them to prison, seize your property, sell the property, give the money back to the NDDC.
I'm sure many Nigerians have this expectation, you have similar expectation, but we'll get them into this conversation as we go on. Adobe's time will bring them in. Yes, but I must first remind our listener out there to follow us on our social media platforms at Official Primorg. Once again, Primorg is spelled Primorg. Remember that we are streaming live on Facebook at Official Primorg.
And remember that this program is interactive. The WhatsApp line to send your message to is 0902-265-6167. And as a citizen, what is your expectation? You've heard what my guest in the studio said and those we spoke to via the phone. As a citizen, what is your expectation now that the forensic audit report on the NDDC exposed corruption on over 12,000 projects? And how would you want the federal government to respond to NDDC staff and contractors indicted? Do you support public naming and shaming of citizens and contractors indicted in the NDDC report?
Call us up and have your say.
Okay, while we're expecting the calls, we have a message from here. A message from Jasfat Obweri. He says he's the president, Niger Delta Intelligentsia team, and he says the law that established NDDC left some lacuna that necessitated political interference.
Let's take the call first. I
Do
think
we
we'll
have a call?
company.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Comrade Engineer Jafet Obweri.
Go ahead. I was just reading your message. Go ahead.
Yeah, the intelligentsia team. I'm a reverse man. First of all, even as we are not too happy or proud about the forensic audit team, because we know there are still not completed information and data that was submitted, but it is a very big way forward for Niger Delta people. Number two, we are talking about just the misappropriation and investment in NDDC, not even minding the security implication. Could you know that since the existence of NDDC, there is what we call spiral street courtesan, which is a direct implication of massive looting of NDDC funds. NDDC supported the festering and infestation of courtesan in Niger Delta region. The looting of funds by politicians is what promoted kidnapping in Niger Delta region. As I'm talking to you, Niger Delta is in danger, not because there was not enough funds to come, but because the funds that came were sent to the wrong people. NDDC, for example, NDDC has a project they call Water Hyacinth. It is a fictitious project that doesn't have any, there's nothing like Water Hyacinth in Niger Delta, but it is given specifically to courtists. It is used to sponsor court groups in Niger Delta.
Do you have evidence to back this claim?
No, we can't ascertain this.
Do you have evidence, sir?
Yes, of course. The barrister in your student knows that. Actually, a project called Water Hyacinth given only to courtists. He knows that.
So what are the people of Niger Delta doing to ensure that monies do not go into the wrong hands?
Use court, strong use, the ones that are these militants, that's what they give it to. Now, NDDC has failed woefully. The possibility of keeping that agency has failed. So I am advocating that NDDC should be scrapped from the central level and sent and re-established at the local government level. Every local government knows that, and every local government knows the problem they have. NDDC should be localized. Like I'm an chairman. You send the money, when you share the money, we have up to 129 local governments in the 9 states that actually form the core Niger Delta region. You can send the money directly to the local government areas. They constitute a board at the local government level. They should be able to manage such a fund. Leaving NDDC at the central level, you won't get any result because the law, check the laws that establish NDDC. There are so many lacunas that allow political interference. That is number one.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. We want to give others the opportunity to make their own contribution. Thank you.
All right, although I must say it remains an allegation, although he said Barrister TTM may be aware of it.
Water hyacinth is a major problem in the waterways in the Niger Delta. Okay. And several contracts have been, awarded, even prior to the emergence of the NDDC. And to think that a lot of money has been spent on, curing, the problem of water hyacinth, yet it still pervades the waterways, is what he's talking about. That it is, you see, when monies are spent for the purpose of solving certain problems, and you see that monies have been paid, up to 80%, 90% of contract sums have been paid, yet there is nothing to show for it. Water hyacinth have not been cleared. At the same time, you don't see other capital projects being done. In fact, I'm aware, in course of the audit being conducted by the accountants, there were other audits being done by organizations like yours who actually went on ground to check the places where they claimed that on paper that there were projects, there were hospitals, there were clinics, there were primary healthcare centers, and all of that. They were non-existent.
My bone of contention is that he said the projects were used to settle cultists.
No, he's not far from the truth. It's just that you asked him a direct question to which he's not prepared to give an answer. The point is that it is, you see, when it's a sociological correlation that when you brought in a lot of illicit money and there is a contestation for those monies and it relies on, in terms of a power play. So if, for example, I tell you that we can maintain peace and give us a number of contracts in order for us to maintain peace, and another group that feels that no, they can truncate peace unless you also give them, so they will go and test powers in what it refers to as gangsterism, cultism, and with a lot of proliferation of arms, leading to gross insecurity in that area. I don't want to call the NDDC, the operations of the NDDC in the last decade or two, to be a cause to the region. After collecting money in the name of the region, not spending the money, depriving the region of what it ought to get, and then creating more problems. creating disaffection among the people. The local government people are worse, 10 times worse than the situations that we have today. What happens to local government funds? What are we talking about? Is the federal government that has laid claim to the oil, and is the federal government that collects the money from the various international oil companies and the state governments, and then itself that contribute the money to the NDDC. You can't give that money to local government chairmen that are not elected to do what? So that they will share the money the way they do local government allocations every month. So we know these things now. Do we come here to come and waste our time? We should tell ourselves the truth. We know these things.
Yes. I think many people have their fears, and straight to on actions that will be taken here. Now that we have this forensic report out, although we don't even know the nitty-gritty, the content.
Yeah,
of
which was what
we have a preview to the report already. The preview is that certain number of contracts numbering over 13,000 have been paid for to a large extent, and they've not been executed, they've been abandoned. Who are the persons responsible? Get us a list, and it's not enough to just get us a list. Send the list to the EFCC or the ICPC if it relates to any government official, and then let's see prosecution taking place. It is not only when a government, an APC government is after somebody who is in the opposition who has stolen money, and then they quickly take the person to court, seize his property, and then he's sent to prison. No, we want this government to show such concerted efforts in the interest of peace, stability, and progress of the Niger Delta people, to also not only identify these people, whether they are in government, whether they are in the National Assembly, whether they are big men who are traditional rulers. Not only name them, but take them to court. Let it not pass September.
We have a culture of sweeping corruption reports under the carpet.
No, if we had that culture, why do we have Primark? It is because the culture is changing. Look, who had the courage like Primark to talk about these issues like the way we are doing now? We enjoy freedom of expression in this country. Just stay within the laws. Don't say things you cannot substantiate. We are talking about reports that are in the public domain. You call them highlights, presumptions that are clear. Okay. And then we are now calling on government. Do what you ought to do. President Buhari, you have a golden opportunity now. Do not waste any time. Name them, but we are saying it's enough. It's not enough to name them. Get the anti-corruption agencies now to do their work, so that Niger Delta people don't have to get too angry to say they want to beat them up and go into their ancestral homes to go and destroy them because of the cost that they have brought to the region. We don't want that. What we want is a government taking responsibility when there is a prima facie. I'm not talking about even substantive evidence. A prima facie case of corruption, of stealing, of diversion of public resources to private use, as we have seen in the NDDC. Once it has been established, we're not even talking about a commission of inquiry here. We're talking about audit report saying that you collected so amount of money for this contract. The contract has not been executed. In fact, it is non-existent. Come and show us where the contract. If you can't show, okay, be in detention first. Why did we have BVN? Trace all the monies where he has money anywhere in the world, and then seize those money.
So government, you are saying government has all the arsenal to go after whoever
what we should be discussing now is the political will of our dear president, because right now he is very useful, very, very useful. They should not keep that report too long on his table. He should release that report straight to EFCC, ICPC, to the police, to the DSS, and in fact, he should release the report to the entire public. Let us also assist the government in ensuring that, it was actually not 1 billion that was paid for this contract. It was 2.something billion. We will have the records. We will show. There are also sympathetic people to the Niger Delta who work in BPP, who work in Ministry of Finance, who work in CBN, who actually know the monies that have come out. A lot of revelation is coming on. It's coming in the next few weeks. Mr. President should not waste any time. Things are going to happen. There is a revelation coming.
You mentioned National Assembly, and the National Assembly has the oversight function.
Well, yes, but there are individuals there who don't have immunity. We know how some of them got money to campaign to get to the National Assembly. This will happen.
You also mentioned the BPP, Bureau of Public Procurement.
Yes.
We know the processes, and you mentioned the political will. Do you think that the president, because this audit report came out since 9th of August,
yes,
it was with Akpabio,
He kept it for
over a long time before he handed it.
He probably was studying it.
Before he
was studying it.
to...
Whatever reason he was for studying it, it was his prerogative, his minister, and he's the one who has received it. Having studied it, in fact, some of us didn't know it was with him. If we knew it was with him, we would have put pressure on him to submit it to the president immediately.
And you also recall that Akpabio has also had some case of corruption indicted. Allegedly. And now you're asking that the president should do the needful.
Yes.
Do you think Akpabio moved from the PDP to the APC? And we've heard what former APC chairman said, Oshomole. So now do you think the president has the will do the needful to allow
the president has just resumed a new gusto in sacking ministers. So I will not be surprised if anything happens. But besides that, you're going to Akpabio is the man in charge. So he's working. He has some credentials now. He's working. No, I'm coming. His case should be last first. Talk about one man who was alleged. I want to emphasize it because we know what the broadcasting rules are now. He was alleged to have collected a number of contracts. He's a senator from Delta State. He was in one political party before. He said they told him that he collected so much and he collected so much money for so many contracts that he didn't execute, and he was in PDP. And suddenly he moved to APC. He's in APC and he's in the National Assembly. Well, before you talk about Akpabio, start with that kind of person. Because I can't recall Akpabio collecting about 300 contracts. I don't even know. I don't know the many allegations against him. All I do know that, yes, there is hardly any politician in Nigeria without some skeleton in his cupboard, and that if the government wants to go after you, all they need to do is to dust up your file. They must suddenly see something. But leave Akpabio, leave him, so that we don't have many distractions now.
No, it's not about Akpabio.
I'm coming. But Akpabio has done his part. The subject matter now, so that we don't lose focus, is the audit report. Audit report has been submitted to the president through the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation. We want that report to be made public. If the president does not want to make it public, he should at least give it to the anti-corruption agencies. But there's a comma if he doesn't make it public in the next 1 week. There is a big comma.
I think the question she wants to get from
yes.
Are you optimistic that this report will not be swept under the carpet?
Let them try it now. Let them try it. How would a country like to deceive itself to this monumental level? That the president will come, set up a forensic audit, and refuse to set up a board that he recommended to the National Assembly, refused to allow it to work because he's awaiting an audit report. The audit report took nearly 2 years for it to come out. It has come out now. With the politics of hiding it is what we are not dealing with. And you think that we are serious people, let it happen now, so that we come to a level where we have said, look, we cannot take arms to fight, but for goodness sake, let the truth be spoken at all times. So will President Buhari now have a legacy that he set up and a committee to do audit of the NDDC? A report was submitted and he hid it. Is that the kind of legacy this president wants? I can assure you that no matter how uninterested the president is in the people of Niger Delta or in the region, he cannot hide that report. If he cannot hide that report, and even this president, if he refuses to do anything about the report, the good thing about it that we will have a report that can be acted upon. Who told you that we don't have laws that we compel the president to do something about the report? Who told you that we don't have laws that we compel ICPC and EFCC to go after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 persons that we know that have contributed to the degradation, to the rape of the Niger Delta? There are laws in this country, very copious laws, and that is where the activism will actually begin. You have done your part as Primark by bringing the issues to the table, but it is also left to us from the region, having seen these things, to do the appropriate thing within the legal framework. And I can tell you, the president will not make that mistake.
Alright, I must mention that the president, we know, ran on the mantra of fighting corruption. We know him as a man who wants to fight corruption, and he's doing his best for now.
But some people have also, aside from what you just said, that we need a special court. You know, court processes, the proceeding.
Under the Tribunals and Inquiries Act, the president has powers to set up tribunals. We can have It's not impossible. You just go through the proper process, set up a tribunal, and let us have a special tribunal even if it's for the purpose of just collecting. But we've passed that stage, because it is what the forensic audit has done, which is actually done according to law, because there are laws there are laws that regulate accounting practices in Nigeria. It is a sufficient document for indictment, and in the FCT, and probably in every stable, administration, a court system where the administration of justice is sound, as we have in the FCT. We already have designated courts for anti-corruption. If you look at the list of courts in the FCT, you see, so we know EFCC. We know the judges that handle all EFCC cases in the FCT. We know the judges that handle anti-corruption cases coming from ICPC. So we expect that there is no need to set up a tribunal or an inquiry, body of inquiry again under the Act. Just carry these guys, bring them to Abuja and try them. Let me tell you something. The money came from Abuja. They collected the money from Abuja. The money belongs to the federal government. Don't waste time going to courts that can be bribed, that we know that they are prevalent in the states. Bring them to the FCT where everybody will be looking at them. Where it is easy for journalists from Primark and the rest of them can go and watch court proceedings and the judge knows that the whole world is watching him or her, and let's see how he will collect bribe, or he or she will collect bribe and not say the truth. So, see, let us just follow the law. It's our only hope, and let us shine our eye in the process of the law. That is when judges cannot collect bribe. I'm not the one that said judges collect bribe. It's the ICPC that said so. That they always collect bribes to free criminals and to turn water to wine, and to turn black to white. But we are saying that bring the cases to Abuja here. Try all of them here. Abuja, you see, the chief judge of the FCT has done well by getting designated courts for anti-corruption. They are there.
So aside from trying the indicted persons here, you also believe that money should be recovered from them and returned to the Nigerian.
It is not the first time. First and foremost, before the cases are heard, we know what the FCC does to the enemies of government. Before the cases are heard, before they even go to court, they've got to apply by expected application, seizing property, not temporary forfeiture. Just collect their cars, collect everything, collect all the monies in the bank account. Just come and keep them. That is what they do to the enemies of government. No, we want them to do that to the enemies of the Niger Delta people as well. So the people who are involved in the 13,000 contracts, the people who superintended over them in the NDDC, whether they are in the federal public service here or in the NDDC body of staff, first and foremost, go and seize their property. Arrest them
to be seized. Barrister,
yes,
there will be countless properties to be
seize them and sell them.
I want to get your take on this quickly. As a leader of an advocacy and rights group, what are you going to do to see that citizens continue piling up this pressure on the government to act on the NDDC audit?
See, we will just in 1 minute. We will tell citizens to be alert. You can't forget about your patrimony. Go to bed, be watching movies, Nollywood movies, and then forget that money has been allocated for roads and for hospitals, and then you forget about that, and then you expect to, and then you get surprised. Don't get surprised when money has been stolen. So shine your eye, in quote, as a Niger Delta, with regards to budget. Anytime the NDDC has a budget, anytime there's a state budget or a federal government or the Minister of Niger Delta budget for your people, they know the roads that are to be built, know the hospitals that are to be built, the schools that are to be built, and when they are not built, call me, your brother, that you have his number, call the other lawyer, call Primark that is displaying his numbers everywhere. Let the world know that these things are not happening. They've got to be responsible. Our people, including to a large extent myself, who is quiet here in Abuja, we have been irresponsible. We've forgotten that there is a budget for our development, and there are some pack of people who hate us, who think that government is a tea party, is about settlement, who don't steal our money. Okay. It is no longer going to be business as usual. The president must not fail us. He must not fail us. He has started a good thing and he must conclude it.
I'm sure he's hearing whatever we are saying here. He must not fail us.
We really must go.
It's been a robust discussion here. Very passionate, Adobe.
Very passionate indeed.
Please visit the news page of our website, primarknews.org. That is primarknews.org for all the details of our reports and interviews. Visit our website, primark.org, to get all the information about Primark.
And you can watch our videos on Primark TV, our YouTube channel. Please visit or subscribe to get reminders when we have a new post. We sincerely appreciate our guest, Executive Director, Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights, Frank Tietie. Thank you so much.
Always my pleasure.
And also Darlington Woju and Omoakovie, who joined us via the phone from Port Harcourt, Rivers State, and Warri in Delta State. Public Conscience on Radio is supported by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation on its website, macfound.org.
Join us again here next week for another episode of Public Conscience, and remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Official Primark. I am Chidozie Ogbonne.
And remember that you can give us information or hint about corrupt acts through our phone 0902 265 6167 or info@primark.org. Let's jointly demand for accountability from our duty bearers. And as a citizen, according to my guest, you should be alert. I am Adaobi Obiabumo. Stay safe.